On the night of March 13th, 1997, something crossed the sky above Arizona. Not one person saw it. Not 10. Not 100. Thousands of people, across 300 miles, watched the same thing pass silently overhead. And to this day, the United States government has never given a satisfactory explanation. This is the Phoenix Lights. March 13th, 1997. A Thursday night, clear skies over Arizona. At approximately 8:15 p.m., reports started coming in from Henderson, Nevada. People stepping outside, looking up, seeing a massive V-shaped formation of lights drifting slowly southward. Then Prescott, Arizona. Then Prescott Valley. Then Dewey. By 10 p.m., the lights were over Phoenix, a city of over 1 million people. What they described was not a small object. Witnesses reported a craft so enormous it blocked out the stars. A giant boomerang shape. Silent. Completely silent. Moving at speeds that made no sense. Sometimes slow, sometimes gone in an instant. Tim Lay, a retired executive, watched it pass directly over his house with his wife and son. He said it was larger than a commercial airliner. Much larger. And it made no sound at all. Dr. Lynn Kite, a physician, had been photographing mysterious lights over Phoenix for months before that night. On March 13th, she captured the lights on video from her home in the mountains above the city. She would spend the next decade trying to get answers. By the time the object reached Phoenix, 911 lines were overloaded. People were pulling over on highways. Families were standing in their driveways, staring up. The National UFO Reporting Center received hundreds of calls. And then, nothing. The lights disappeared over the southern horizon. The next morning, people expected answers. Press conferences, military statements, radar data. Instead, silence. Governor Fife Symington held a press conference. He promised answers. And then, he had an aide walk out dressed in an alien costume. He laughed. The crowd laughed nervously. And no real explanation came. Years later, Symington admitted the truth. He said he had seen the object himself that night. He described it as otherworldly. He said he had made a joke at the press conference because he didn't want to cause a public panic. The official explanation, when it finally came, was this. The lights were flares dropped by A-10 Warthog aircraft from the Maryland Air National Guard during a training exercise at the Berry Goldwater Range south of Phoenix. But witnesses didn't accept it. The flares explanation came hours after the main sighting. The V-shaped formation people described moved from north to south, the opposite direction of the flare drop. And flares don't move in a rigid formation. They drift. They float. They don't hold a perfect V-shape for hundreds of miles. Former astronaut and Arizona Congressman Fife Symington was not the only credible witness. Retired general account, police officers, pilots, doctors, all describing the same thing. So what was it? Theory 1, a military aircraft or classified project. The U.S. military has tested secret aircraft for decades. The B-2 stealth bomber, the SR-71, drones that didn't officially exist for years. Some researchers believe what people saw was a classified triangular craft, possibly the TR-3B, a rumored black-budget aircraft that the government has never confirmed or denied. Theory 2, mass misidentification. Skeptics argue that what people saw were simply aircraft flying in formation, and the human brain connected them into a single shape. Combined with the flares later that night, they say, it created two separate events that witnesses merged into one. But this theory struggles to explain the sheer scale of the object multiple witnesses described, something that blocked out entire sections of sky. Theory 3. It was extraterrestrial. Thousands of witnesses. 300 miles. Complete silence. No sonic boom. No radar contact made public. For many people, the simplest explanation is the one the government refuses to say out loud. The Phoenix Lights remain one of the most documented mass UFO sightings in American history. Over 10,000 witnesses, video footage, photographs, credible testimony from pilots, military personnel, and elected officials. And still, no definitive answer. Governor Symington stood in his driveway that night and watched something pass over his city that he could not explain. He spent years hiding that fact. Maybe there is a classified explanation sitting in a file somewhere in Washington. Or maybe, on the night of March 13th, 1997, something passed over Arizona that we still don't have the language to describe. The skies were clear that night, and 10,000 people looked up. This was Cold Verdict. Subscribe. Because next week, we open another file.